number of different Pure Lands and Buddha fields represented in art. We find these as murals and as paintings, and the majority of them are really Buddha fields, the Pure Lands of various Buddhas, such as Medicine Buddha, Amitabha, Akshobhya, and the like. But we also have some Pure Lands that are related to Bodhisattva figures of the Mahayana tradition. And probably the most famous is the Potalaka, the Pure Land of Avalokiteshvara. Now, this is mentioned in some early Indian texts, and it is referred to as being possibly an island off the coast of India. And then in more later times, and as Buddhism spread across Asia, then there was the idea that it could be an island off of China. So we have some representations in art of the Potalaka Pure Land, and it's always or almost always with the central depiction of Avalokiteshvara. And because these are primarily of Tibetan origin, regardless of where they're coming from in the Himalayas or northern China or Mongolia, the custom is to depict the one-faced, four-armed form of the deity. And this form actually comes out of the Chaturbhuja Sutra, which is a 4th, 5th century sutra, which is a kind of a proto-tantra as well, because it does describe this deity form of Avalokiteshvara with one face, four arms, but it also describes a mandala and 2 retinue figures that accompany this form of Lokeshvara. Regardless, so for the Potalaka depictions, generally they're murals and they're scrollwork paintings. We really have no sculpture to speak of that represents this. But the key features of the painting are the one-faced four-armed Avalokiteshvara seated in front of a palace structure with sides, with a roof. So he's seated in front on a throne, and this palace also is situated on a kind of island, because at the bottom of the composition you're going to have water either completely surrounding the island or almost surrounding. And often in the depictions you will have people crossing by boat or crossing by a bridge or crossing by a rope ladders, crossing the water to get to the island. And of course, this island and this palace and this Lokeshvara, it is sort of against a mountain. There's a mountain behind. Now, another small feature that you will very commonly find is that in the lower composition on the island, not in the absolute foreground, but once you're seeing the island, at the bottom of the island, where you sort of enter the island, then you're going to have a rock outcropping, and on that rock outcropping will be an image of generally a one-faced, two-armed Avalokiteshvara, as if coming out of the rock, as if it's a swayambhu, it's a self-arising image from the rock. Now, also what you can have is, in the composition, is you can have an image of green Tara. And this green Tara is thought to be within the acacia wood or the sandalwood or the rosewood forest that is Tara's Pure Land. Tara's Pure Land is related very much to Avalokiteshvara's. This I don't necessarily think comes out of the Chaturbhuja Sutra, but it was adapted later. So in the art, in these compositions, we have these sort of key features. We have Avalokiteshvara, and he can have several retinue figures, sometimes even Manjushri and Vajrapani, just as a balance. But otherwise, he has some retinue figures, an island, a mountain, a palace, the self-arising Lokeshvara from the rock, and then at the bottom, the people crossing the water to get to the island. So this is generally what you find with the Potalaka Pureland depictions.